Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome to the Super Post 302 podcast. It is your host Stephen Heyman, and we are joined by obviously our usual co-host Corey Jennings
What's going on, man? You know we're back.
and Jonathan Claudio.
Yo, what's up?
So guys, we love you. Thank you for giving us the time to express our thoughts about how we feel about comic book movies and TV shows. But before you do that, please follow us on SoundCloud, Instagram, Apple Podcasts, any platform that you think of. So follow us or subscribe to us. Definitely on YouTube. We actually now upload live videos of our podcast recording. So give that a look and follow us on YouTube at Superhero Post 302. So today on this episode, we will be talking about our top 10 superhero movies of all time. And we can all agree that this was a pretty hard
Yes.
choice to choose, right?
Yeah. I even asked you, can we do like a top 5 instead of a 10? Because for me, I thought that probably would have been a little easier. But, no, I think this challenge will allow us to really explore our ideas and our favorite superhero movies. So.
Yeah, with obviously honorable mentions because, I mean, you can't leave out. There's some films that didn't make our top 10 that you just can't leave out. Am I correct?
Yeah, I mean, even when we did the top 10 MCU movies, it's so hard just to narrow it down to a top 10 and actually put them to a list because I'm sure we could all say 10 movies that are maybe our favorite, but it's hard to actually list them 1 through 10. And then adding in DC and every other type of live action superhero movie, it's definitely a challenge. It was definitely a challenge.
I mean, yeah, just making it live action at least made it a little easier.
Yeah, and thank God DC has been sucking, so it wasn't that hard to add some DC films in there. All right, so let's get into our top 10. So let's start with number 10. Let's start with your. So this is how it's going to go. We're going to talk about We're going to state our film, explain why, and we will converse and comment about it, and we'll just go this way every time. So, starting with you, what is your number 10?
Hulk 2003.
2003? Did not expect that one. Did you expect him to say that one?
Nah, I'm kidding. I'm joking. Absolutely
you're
not.
insane.
I was gonna say my favorite movie, my favorite part is the comic book, but no, Man of Steel, top 10.
I like that. I chose.
So the reason why I chose Man of Steel, for me personally, I know a lot of people didn't like it, but I liked where they were taking the Superman character. They really humanized him. I know for a lot of people don't like Superman because he's like this overpowered character that you can't really relate to. I feel like this movie really dived into his character and who he is in a personal level. His relationship with his mother in that movie was really cool. I like when Zod was when he was interrogating his mom. Superman just came and then he started beating the crap out of him and like stuff like that is what I really loved about the movie. Yeah.
I mean, I don't like any of the Supermans, but that's just me personally. That might just be my bias hating.
Yeah, he's not a Cavill guy.
Oh yeah, not at all. But I understand what you're saying. Like what you're saying makes sense. How they didn't go the usual route with the superhuman power, very overall people. They did humanize them in the movie, so I get that part.
I mean, I think Cavill's the embodiment of Superman, so that's just my opinion. All right.
It did make it top 10 for a reason, and I thought the movie was a little too. There was too much, way too much action for me in the movie. I remember being in theater watching it, and I'm like, they're still fighting, they're still going on with it.
Well,
it's a little overwhelming, but that was the only problem I had with it.
Origin movies for me are just cringy in general, whether it's Superman or whatever. So, obviously, we had to deal with that crap. But I think some actions were good. But yeah. So, Corey, let's get into your number 10.
All right, my number 10. I'll go throwing curveball. A curveball at my number 10 spot. I'll put Deadpool because Deadpool was a great movie. It was a great movie overall, especially with the introduction of the R-rated movie and how they
Deadpool 1, right? Not Deadpool 2.
Yeah, not Deadpool 2, the first Deadpool, and how they they use some of the humor as well as like the more gory, I guess you could say, even though it wasn't gory, it was just more like blood, I guess. But I think Ryan Reynolds did amazing in that role, and I think that movie was just a hit. So in my opinion, that's a top 10 superhero movie. Maybe not top 10 most important or anything, but that's definitely a top 10.
I think Deadpool could be in the top 10 most important movie. I mean, if you think about it, Deadpool started rated R superhero genre hero comic book movies. I mean, maybe you never know. The Joker might not have even been made if Deadpool wasn't the first person to start the rated R movies.
right. Like,
But like, what is so important about rated R movies? Like, how does that for you add? I guess. Yeah, how does that add to like the superhero movies? In what way? In realism or?
well, I mean, just before that was never something that they did, especially because Marvel is connected to Disney, and Disney just historically is known for their like children material. They don't really branch out into the rated R like section too much, and I think that like what Steve was saying, it opened the door. Like, we don't know if they would have gone the Joker route with Joaquin Phoenix if there wasn't a Deadpool. And what else is coming out? Blade is coming out, right? That's going to be rated R.
It is?
Yeah, that's what I heard. Or there were talks of it.
I know the old Blade was rated R.
Yeah, I think that with the whole with a character like Deadpool, I don't think you could go to the lengths you wouldn't reach the amount of character. I won't say development, but.
No,
it wasn't really but you know what I'm saying. You wouldn't.
I get what you're saying. They had more freedom to let him
That's the word. Yeah, exactly.
To let him do like the crazy stuff, kill people on the bridge. Yeah. How he was just like doing all that nuts stuff. I don't think they wouldn't have been able to do that if it wasn't rated R. And it was a step because rated R takes away a percentage of your audience, and they still went that route and ended up it still being good.
But Deadpool. The reason why they're so successful with rated R is because not a lot of fans really know who Deadpool is. The real people that know who Deadpool is our age group, is that 20, 21 and up of dudes that read comic books that are nerds. And even if you read the comics, Deadpool is immorally crazy. And it's funny. I mean, it's cool, but with the PG-13, I don't you couldn't. It wouldn't be as good.
Yeah. I mean, they could have gone to PG-13, but I think it would have took away from some of the comedic aspects, some of the action aspect of it. And like you were saying, that's a big chunk of people, because now it's not, oh, I'm taking my family to go see Avengers. It's now we're going as adults, or you just have to take an extra step to go to a rated R movie. So I think that's why it's important, because it's now opening the doors for the future. So we haven't really seen too much besides Joker yet, but we'll see if
Deadpool. But I even think that, and if they want to bring, because Deadpool is technically supposed to be in the MCU now per se. So even if he gets into a Spider-Man film, it is not as whatever. I think it's still going to be good, because it's just not himself feeding off of his character, his mini universe. He'll be feeding off of other characters, but as a solo movie goes per se, it should be and will be rated R. Yeah. So my number 10 is the Fantastic Four with Chris Evans and with Jessica Alba. That's my number 10 all-time favorite movie. Personally, I like that movie, number one, because of the Human Torch. The Human Torch is one of my favorite characters in comic books ever. He's up for my top 10 favorite characters. By the way, guys, we will be doing an episode on our top 10 favorite comic book characters coming soon. But just the movie itself, obviously graphics, I think it was in. Can you check? I think it was made in 2004. 2005. I think that the direction of the movie was great. I think that the characters embodied their roles. I was pretty happy with the movie. Obviously, it was kind of like an origin film and etc. But one of the characters that really stood out to me was Dr. Doom. I think Dr. Doom was really good. Definitely better than the Fantastic Four with Michael B. Jordan in them. But I mean, as a movie, even when the Human Torch is trying to figure out his powers and he's flaming on, he's a wild loose cannon, and the thing is he goes and sees his wife after he becomes a rock, and she's freaking out. I think that whole movie was very balanced with the drama, but also had some nice I wouldn't say action scenes, but it was a good movie of like trying to show us, characters developing their powers and figuring out like everything. And even when the Human Torch was supernova, that's just one of my favorite comic book scenes of when he flew around Doctor Doom and was supernova. You remember that?
Yeah.
I
didn't know it was
great
supernova,
movie.
though. But
Yeah, that was what it was called, like when you go supernova. But yeah, so Fantastic Four is definitely my top 10. Plus Jessica Alba is gorgeous, by the way.
Man, yeah.
And obviously this was before Chris Evans became Captain America, so don't kill me for that.
That always used to like that threw me off when he became Captain America.
Captain America was hard for me at first because I always
Yeah.
saw him as Human Torch.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I didn't even think they were going to go that route. I mean, thank God it wasn't John Krasinski, but even though he's a great actor. But yeah, that was a weird seeing Chris Evans as Captain America at first. But yeah.
I mean, I don't really have much input on it. It's definitely not in my top 10, but
Yeah.
but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, you got them. Yeah. So as an early movie, that's in my top 10. I watched it 1,000 times when I have the DVD upstairs actually. So Jonathan, number 9, bro.
Yeah, let me actually open up my phone here. What did I put on 9? Oh, Spider-Man 2.
Far From Home or Spider-Man 2 with Sam Raimi?
No, the original Spider-Man.
I respect that. That's one of the best Spider-Man films I've seen.
I remember when that movie was coming out. Oh man, like the hype, for me at least, was so intense. Because I still am a huge Spider-Man fan. But this movie, I don't know, like it's just, I feel like the story was really good. It was so balanced because it was about him not wanting to be Spider-Man, not wanting to take that responsibility. It was basically about him just running away from responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it had a good moral message. I thought that the direction, the story was good. The action was amazing. I mean, the train sequence with him and Dr. Otto Octavius was just amazing. Yeah, it was just great. Like I remember watching it just as a kid and just like still.
I mean,
it's amazing.
I think the whole dynamic of it was, like the thing I love about Spider-Man, and Spider-Man is one of my favorite characters ever to read in comic books. I think Spider-Man is the best character to read in comic books, him or Batman. If you read Batman, Detective Comics is the way to go. I don't read any other Batman other than that, but I think that the crazy thing about Spider-Man that people didn't get was that Spider-Man's powers are affected by his emotions. Spider-Man lost his powers because his emotions, he was all like wiggly around, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And the best part about Spider-Man is that he might get beat up and he might lose, but he always comes back. And he's always the one to sacrifice his whole childhood basically to be a superhero. And Spider-Man 2 was him giving up his powers, and it was amazing. I love or giving up being Spider-Man. That was a great movie.
I love that element, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah. You have any comments about
And
Spider-Man?
comes back to save people. Oh man.
No, you can't. Yeah. You can't argue Spider-Man 2. That was the best Spider-Man. Well, you can argue the newer ones, but out of the ones that they put out before
from
recently,
Sony.
that was by far the best one.
For a fact. Definitely not Spider-Man 3.
No, not Spider-Man 3.
Even though I did like Spider-Man 3, despite
Yeah. I don't blame Sam Raimi because we all know he was rushed, but it is someone he does hold some fault, but whatever. Now he's directing Doctor Strange, which is kind of weird. But
I saw that real quick. I saw that poster with the Sam Raimi Spider-Man and him going through a portal. Was that legit?
No.
No?
That's fan art. If it was legit, we would not be podcasting all this right now.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh man.
But no. My number 9, I put Iron Man 1, and that's. Some people may put it higher. Some people may not even have it on the top 10. But I think just even off of importance alone, like it was just an important movie because it really like jump started the MCU as a whole as we know today. But regardless of that, it was also a great movie. It was the great how Tony Stark turned from Tony Stark, the like douchebag billionaire, into Iron Man. So we got to see that. We got to see cool action. We got to see the suit, how they made the suit in the cave and how we busted out. And then we got to see. I even think what's the bad guy's name?
Obadiah Stane.
Yeah, his portrayal of that was good, just being like a complete jerk and how like maniacal he was. But Yeah, it's not really too much I need to say about that. Just importance off of being a good movie and just like my favorite.
Started the greatest franchise of all time.
What's interesting about that movie, that was before Disney bought Marvel. And like watching it, you can tell there's like a different vibe to it, you know? Like I feel like ever since Disney bought it, it kind of like became light. And it's not bad, but like the music was different in that movie too. I think that had like for me the best like soundtrack in like most Marvel movies.
You mean like the score and all that stuff?
Yeah.
One of the best. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, Iron Man 1, I mean, I don't really need to get into it. Like, that's, I'll forever be held in our hearts as one of the most, it might be the most important superhero film of all time.
Probably.
At this point. But, goated. So, my number 9 is Spider-Man Homecoming. The reason why I chose Spider-Man Homecoming was, I was going to choose Spider-Man 1 from Sam Raimi, but I kind of changed my mind only because I was thinking of, when Spider-Man Homecoming happened, I think Spider-Man Homecoming did a lot for me as a fan in the moment, only because we were let down with Spider-Man 3. Andrew Garfield was a skater.
No, man. I have never seen the Amazing Spider-Man movies.
Yeah,
Really?
don't.
I mean, the action was good, I guess. But
then we
he
had to
was a
deal,
bad Spider-Man.
then we had to deal with, freaking like, him and Gwen Stacy's on and off crap. And then, Spider-Man 2 was a really big letdown. I mean, the first Amazing Spider-Man wasn't that bad, if we're being honest. It was okay. I mean, it was it was watchable. And then Spider-Man 2 kind of just crapped the bed for me with all the stuff with his parents and was terrible. And a lot of fans like me were upset. And then we get Spider-Man Homecoming. I didn't know what to expect because, coming off of that crap, you don't know, am I going to see Uncle Ben get clapped again? Are we going to see the same thing? And, obviously when Civil War happened, we were really excited because you're like, oh my gosh, this is comic book Peter Parker, Obviously the whole, what we like to say is,
Coming of age.
Toby was a really good Peter Parker, really bad Spider-Man. Andrew Garfield, really good Spider-Man, really bad Peter Parker. And then Tom Holland is the perfect balance of both. And with the Spider-Man Homecoming, there wasn't a lot of action, but I think we go right into the movie, they're like, we know that Uncle Ben got clapped. We get it. And they made Tony Stark more of like the Uncle Ben in his life, per se. It was like a father figure. And I think doing that was what Spider-Man needed. And I think that father, son, uncle thing, dynamic type, was what really boosted the movie for me. And plus, Aunt May wasn't an old hag. Like, she was young. She's not too young, but she's young enough. And having Zendaya Coleman and the other guy played Ned. I don't know his name off the top of my head, but he had a really good supporting cast, and they all looked like they were in high school, okay? Let's be honest. All of the other Spider-Mans looked like they were on the brink of having kids and being grown men. Tom Holland is, 22? He's like a year older than us, and he's the same age as you. And, I mean, you look young, too. He looks like he's in high school.
Yeah.
So, I think that, Spider-Man Homecoming for me did a lot for me as a comic book fan, so that's why it's my number 9.
Yeah, I do like Spider-Man Homecoming.
Now, Far From Home is a way better movie. Let's put that out there. But for the whatever. So, let's get to your number 8.
Which one was this one? Oh, X-Men Days of Future Past. So for me, this for me was like the true ending of X-Men, just because it really
Yes, it was. It was definitely the true ending.
It bridged the gap of the older, I guess, or the newer X-Men movies and then the older movies, and it restored all of like the mistakes. It had the perfect ending. It was, let me see if I can think of like important scenes that I really liked about it. I love the dynamics with the old cast and the new cast, the old Professor Xavier, the new Xavier. I just thought it really completed that whole timeline, and it was a really good, well-written movie. The pacing was really good. Hugh Jackman as Wolverine is always. I mean, we're gonna forever remember him as Wolverine.
You never know. He might be coming back. You never know what can happen.
I hope so, but yeah, that's my top 8.
All right, Corey. Actually, let me comment on this Future Past real quick. Number 1, I feel like that was really the first comic book crossover that we got to see in a movie. Wait. Yeah. BVS didn't happen until later on. But yeah, that was a really good crossover, like in their own little universe, and I will never forget that scene when they're in like the kitchen area and they shoot him in Quicksilver, like moves everything out the way.
Oh yeah.
That's one of the best scenes like in superhero history. Crazy. So yeah. Corey, what's your number 8?
My number 8, I'm gonna go Guardians. Guardians of the Galaxy 1. And I think that this was the better of the two, because some people may enjoy the second one more than the first one, but I think that this was the expansion of the universe, because we got Thor and that was in Asgard, but we didn't get the like multiverse, or we didn't get all these other things that were in the MCU, and Guardians of the Galaxy opened it up. And now, as we're in the time that we are now, we see how important that was, and how they used all those different things that were introduced in Guardians in like the MCU today. And it was also a great movie. Like, the cast was amazing. They picked I think they picked the perfect people to play those supporting actors, and we see that the MCU does, I think, a pretty great job of, like, obviously Chris Pratt is the main character and he's Star-Lord, but even all the way down to Manus, like they had actors that did a great job in their role, and I think that even it just being funny and also a good movie, like, it was just all around.
Yeah, I think that Guardians definitely expanded the Marvel universe. Obviously, there was Asgard, but Guardians was like, kind of like a Star Wars type vibe.
Outside of the like core.
Yeah,
Avengers.
like it's true space. Like it was that movie, and it's freaking hilarious. I mean, Rockets was so freaking funny, bro. Oh yeah, that movie was hilarious. And then when you go into Infinity War and all that stuff, it gets even better.
Yeah, it gets better. Yeah,
yeah. I think Infinity War was one of their best performances.
Yeah,
Guardians 2, I'm a little iffy on that, but.
I feel you.
My number 8 is X-Men Origins Wolverine. Yeah, I wanted to put Logan, but I would put X-Men Origins Wolverine.
That was, honestly,
Logan's definitely honorable mention, by the way.
I know people diss that movie, but like when I watched it, I thought
Bro, that movie was.
I love Gambit
fire.
in that movie. I didn't like Deadpool so much, but Gambit was really good.
One of my favorite scenes was when Sabretooth stepped on his claws, his wooden claws, and they came, like when they had the fight or whatever. Mm-hmm. I think that movie was insane. Bro, that movie was crazy. I don't really need to say much about it, but just needless to say, that X-Men Origins Wolverine was dramatic. As I said, I mean, it was a pretty balanced movie for the time that it came out in. Like, it wasn't like the best thing ever, but I think that movie has to be. X-Men movies have to be in the top 10, and any of Hugh Jackman's Wolverine films have to be in your top 10. You can't leave him out. You can't count out Hugh Jackman. Am I right?
I mean,
I can't. I haven't seen Wolverine. So
it's debatable. It's debatable. But yeah, for me, X-Men Origins. I mean, the part when he just gets the metal claws, it's just. He's escaping.
I mean, you can argue why an X-Men movie isn't a top 10 superhero movie, like, just in general, but I don't think you can argue that Wolverine is a top 10 superhero ever. Like, that has been portrayed. I think he's top 10.
Yeah.
Wait, are you saying he is a top 10 superhero ever?
He is.
Oh, yeah, he is.
I'm saying you can argue that any of the X-Men movies aren't top 10 now in 2020 because of all the movies that came out after. Yeah. But you can't argue that Hugh Jackman and Wolverine is not a top 10.
Now, if we're talking about most important, then obviously X-Men 1 is in there. Because X-Men 1 did change the game, let's be honest.
Well, yeah, I mean, at the time, there wasn't really anything that was making an impact like that.
And the action for its time was freaking amazing.
Yeah.
X1 and even X2. X2 is probably my favorite X-Men movie out of all of them. And obviously X-Men Dark Phoenix, duh. That's one of the best ones ever made.
I was going to say that.
Bro. Yo.
What are we on, 7?
Yes, we're on. I know, right? We're on 7. We're 24 minutes in. We're on number 7. All right, Jonathan, what's your number 7?
So I had this one higher than yours, but I put Iron Man in number 7.
1?
Yeah.
Don't say Iron Man 2. We will kill that movie.
So I said Iron Man 1 because I really loved the technology in this movie, the hologram, the armor. I liked when his armor was silver and then he decided to paint it hot red. That was really cool. Man, Robert Downey Jr., man, like the acting was just real, like he's Iron Man, for sure. And it's the start. It was the start of something big. So like watching the movie, I remember watching after the credits. Nick Fury came. He was black, and that kind of like threw me off because in the games he was white, and in the comics, in some comics he's black. But when he introduced himself and said "Shield," I'm like, oh my gosh, because like I used to play the games, I was playing online, so like that really hyped me up and got me looking forward to the the next Marvel movies. The Incredible Hulk was the next one, and then seeing Robert Downey Jr. in that one just made it even more like you anticipated for more that was to come, and that was just really cool to watch as a kid, and now as an adult and seeing like the completion of it, it's pretty awesome.
Iron Man is the greatest hero ever, number one, because he's the first hero to ever go public about it. He's the first hero to ever tell you, I am Iron Man. That line, I am Iron Man, changed the game forever.
It did. Yeah.
Am I right? We have Superman, Batman behind their identities, lose people they love, and Iron Man just say, YOLO, I'm Iron Man. And then on top of that, another thing that they did that was great was that he didn't get the suit right on the first try.
Yeah.
Before Iron Man, it was nailed it on the first try. Let's be honest. I mean,
yeah.
And he went through we got 3 suits. You know what I'm saying? We got the one he made in the cave, then the silver, and then obviously the original. So it's like that movie changed the game.
Yeah. No, you're totally right about the ending. I remember like when he said that, I'm like, whoa, like what's gonna happen in the next one?
Yeah.
Because like superheroes are known for hiding their identity.
And even though Iron Man 2 Iron Man 3 weren't that great, you still get to see the impact that he goes through with the fact that he told everyone that he's Iron Man, that people are coming after, you know what I'm saying? People coming after him, etc.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I think when we're getting this high onto our list, like we're not on the bottom, like we're going towards the top.
This is top tier movies.
We're going towards the top half. And I mean, and don't get it wrong, like every movie on this top 10, regardless if it's 10, is still a great movie because it's on the top 10. But like, even with Iron Man, since that one came out so long ago, it's crazy that you could go back now and watch that movie and it'll still be a good movie.
It still holds.
Yeah.
It still holds.
Yeah, the CGI, the effects, it's really good.
And I'm not the kind of guy to put an old school movie down the bottom, but I will say this: when it comes to top 5, this is top tier. And I'm gonna be honest, all of my top 5s, except one, are all Marvel movies because Marvel movies bring the top class. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You really can't. I get some DC movies are from importance, but when it comes to the best movies, obviously these are our favorites. But
Yeah. All right, I'm on 7, right? My 6 and 7 could be swapped, but I'm gonna keep it how I originally put it. My number 7 is Avengers 1, and it could be higher just based off importance, but we're in 2020 right now, and the movie that came out after that, I'm gonna put this at 7, but. It was the introduction to the Avengers. Like, there's really nothing else to say. Like, it was the first one. It was the action, the characters, the everybody coming together. Like, I don't think any superhero fan will like ever forget what the first time they assembled in New York. Like, everything going around the 360 camera angle. Like, that was one of the best scenes ever in comic book movie history. So it's really nothing else to say, but it's at my 7. I might have put it a little low.
Yep. I totally agree. That movie came out in 2012
and still holds.
And it was a big deal. Big deal.
It changed the game forever.
Yeah.
It did.
I mean, I think that we had Thor, we had Captain America at this point, we had the Iron Man 2, and we had Iron Man, but this movie, I think I'm like 98% certain that this is the movie that took Marvel from being elite and took it to now we're the best franchise, nobody's gonna touch us. That bar went skyrocket after Avengers, and it's stayed there.
I remember when that movie came out, we were all talking and saying, "Yeah, man, we don't think nothing is gonna beat this," but it only got better after that. So you're totally right about that.
Yup. I don't need to say anything. Y'all got it. We're on number 7, right?
Yes.
My number 7 is Batman in 1989 with Michael Keaton. That's my number 7. That is my number 7 because, as I said, this is one of my all-time favorites. This is one of the movies that got me into comic book superheroes. Let's just go through the cast list. Michael Keaton, obviously. Jack Nicholson as the Joker pretty sure he was the second Joker to be on screen. I think he is what started this good spiral of Jokers. He is one of the greatest Jokers of all time. He's the third best Joker of all time, in my opinion. He was amazing. Did y'all know that Billy D. Williams from Star Wars was Two-Face? I did not know that.
Yeah. I didn't know that neither. Like he wasn't. I think it was Harvey Dent.
Yeah, did not know that. But anyways, yeah. Even Batman 2 with the Penguin and Catwoman. I think those are one of my favorite Batmans. One of my favorite Batman's movies. When it comes to Batman, I'm gonna save that for the next one. I'm gonna just shut up. But I will say this: people. When people found out Michael Keaton was first cast as Batman, they did not think he was going to be a good Batman because they thought he was too small. And that was a fact, and I think he proved everyone wrong, and now he is one of the greatest Batmans, and Michael Keaton is now the Vulture in Spider-Man, so.
Yeah, I mean, he was a good Batman, and I think that Jack Nicholson was a good Joker. He's not the second best Joker. Is that what you said?
No, I said he's third best.
Third best. He's not third best either. He's fourth. But anyway.
Who's third? Jared Leto?
No. What? Stop it.
Jared Leto.
Joaquin. No, Heath Ledger.
Okay, what are you talking about? Movies? Are you talking about movies?
I'm talking about live action.
Okay, well then the Joker from Gotham. What are you talking about?
I said movies.
That's what I just asked you.
The Joker from Gotham isn't a movie.
You said live action. I said, are we talking about movies or are we talking about live
funny.
action?
A lot of fans think that the Joker is a joke from Gotham.
Yeah, well, they're tripping.
I haven't seen it. I don't know.
Yeah, the Batman. Shout out to the Batman on Film podcast. Shout out to Paul Herman. Paul Herman. I sent you a message on Facebook, and you had.
And Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill is amazing as all the games and everything. But you're talking about live action.
Yeah, by the way, Paul Herman, thank you. But the Batman on film, they were trashing Gotham's Joker.
Oh my gosh, I would love to have.
Yeah, they were trashing. Yeah, they were really trashing him really bad, and I was like, come on, guys, y'all
I
are
don't
crazy.
know. I'll save that for a different.
But
podcast,
that's another episode where you're gonna rant. But
he was amazing.
Yeah, but yeah, so. Batman 1989 is my number 7. Yeah. All right, when it hits number 5, guys, it gets critical. So this is our last, mess around one. So go.
So this is a movie that everyone, I guess, bashes on. I'm not entirely sure.
Sorry, my dad is screaming at my dog.
Okay, so I'm just gonna get to it. Age of Ultron. Here's my reasons. I got my reasons. So when watching Age of Ultron back in the day, there was a lot of things to pick out from the movie, like a lot of foreshadowing, a lot of like messages and stuff. And like now when you see it all unveil, it's like holy crap! Like this movie, it's there's so much more to it that people miss. Like for instance, the Captain America shield being broken, showing Black Widow's dead body. In that vision, it's kind of like I don't know, but like for me when watching it, I'm like, all right, let me take notes. Let me like try to remember everything. I mean, even the name Endgame originates from that movie, and like
that's true. I'll give him that.
I think that this movie really sets the foundation of what the future Avenger movies brought, and for me, I think that's why it's so good. It did a good job doing that.
Okay.
Of preparing the way of the the ending.
I get why you like it.
It was just smart.
I'll be honest. I even watch it sometimes. Like I even have it on a lot. But
no, not really.
This is my problem with Age of Ultron, and I have to express this because this makes me angry. Okay. What? And I even have Age of Ultron in my top 10 MCU movies because it is in my top 10 MCU movies, but it's not in my top 10 all time. It can't be my all time. But this is my problem with Age of Ultron. And the reason why I have it in my top 10 because of the reasons you stated. But let's get into the movie first. Let's do a quick breakdown, okay, of just the relief and the.
I'll let you go first.
And the natural common sense that this movie lacks. Who's the director? What's the dude's name?
Joss Whedon.
Joss Whedon, who ruined Justice League, by the way.
Oh, don't
release
blame
the
it on
Snyder
him.
cut. Release the freaking Snyder cut. But that's another subject for another day. So we go into the movie, okay? I love the opening scene, language, all that crap. But okay, boom, Ultron comes out after everyone tries to lift the hammer, right?
Yeah.
And so whatever, my strings are free, blah blah. Thor says, what did he say? He said the trail went cold after like 100 miles.
Are you gonna break down this whole?
You can only no. This is like.
Hold on, wait, what? Go on.
So remember, all right, so do you remember when Thor went to track down Ultron after Ultron escaped Stark Tower or the Avengers Tower?
Yep.
And he says the trail went cold after like 100 miles.
Okay.
How does a trail go cold after 100 miles? You're Thor. Like those little nitpicks just make me angry with the movie. And then on top of that, like, you know, it's just like I didn't like Ultron's lips.
Okay, I think you're focusing.
I think the lips were a little too much for me. I think it
things.
was a little too much for me. I wanted no movement, and then like also with the whole Vision thing, I don't know. I don't know.
I think you have different nitpicks. I mean, you can nitpick it because it is the weakest Avengers movie in my opinion.
It is
but
I don't.
I think
they did Thor dirty though. And they like the movie did Thor dirty as a character.
I mean, I think that my problems with it were sort of different from what your problems were. I mean, I think that the whole like love thing with Black Widow and Hulk was dumb. I think that's
not even
they
comically
focused
accurate.
on that, which didn't really make sense. I think they didn't give Ultron a like backstory or anything really. They didn't really introduce. He just like showed up
there.
And I think that, and coming off of Avengers 1, I think they should have ramped up the action, which I don't think they did. They did a lot of not storytelling, a lot of introducing and a lot of different separate storylines, which they could have focused. They could have narrowed it down and increased the action. I think that would have made it better.
This is what they did, right? They basically used this film to help build up the future.
Yeah, but
that's
like
why,
you said,
that's why I kind of liked it though.
Endgame and Age of Ultron and even like Captain America: Civil War are prime examples that you can do that, but still make a good movie. Like that doesn't have to be your main focus.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that my negatives outweigh the positives. Like it impacted the future. Yes, introduced Wanda and Silver Surfer. Like that was cool. Yes, but they I think they did a weak job of introducing them with very little background.
That's true.
And I think that Ultron, they had such a cool character that they could have used way better. They made him like sort of funny, I guess. It was okay. And it's even, he's Ultron. He has all that power, and what did he do? He built a bomb that you had to lift up a city.
And even in the final battle,
he could have shut down the world.
Thor was supposed to watch where the bomb was, right? And then out of nowhere, Thor's on the other side of the city in the robot. It just like Thor should be hammering.
I think that's specific nitpicking, but I'm thinking just the overall of that they didn't.
I'm just saying that's the common sense part to me that they lacked. So yeah,
they could have made it a better movie, and that's why I don't have it in my top 10 of anything. Top 10 MCU or top 10.
For me, I just think of it from like a technical standpoint.
Right, but if you're going off of the importance of how it introduced a lot of things, then
because even though it wasn't the strongest, it is one of the most important because of the fact that it introduced Vision,
and then a foreshadow of Cap lifting the hammer.
Yeah, of course.
But no, I see what you guys are saying.
Yeah.
It's just if they would have made Ultron comic accurate, he would have been way too overpowered.
How does this theory sound to you?
They wouldn't even need Thanos. He would be the big.
How does this sound? Take this theory. Ready? I have a theory that Cap couldn't lift the hammer because he knew that Bucky killed Tony's parents, and he wasn't worth it because he was hiding that from Tony.
I think so. I think it was confirmed though by the directors that he was always with.
Yeah, that's why I think that's a reach. I think that he could have done it, but he didn't. He didn't need to because he didn't need to show off.
And do you know who else is
Captain America? He's humble.
And do you know who else is like worthy? Black Widow. That's why she said that is something I don't want to find out because in the comics she actually is worthy of Thor's hammer.
I mean, there's a couple people that can lift it up, but
I wish we got to see that. But anyways, Corey, that was a tangent. What is your number 6? Yeah, bro. Sorry.
It's gonna get interesting after this.
I think from 5 up, mine is cemented. But these 6 and 7, I'm gonna go Ragnarok, and this is because it's maybe not the most important movie in the MCU. Like, it didn't introduce anything crazy. It didn't, but I think it was overall one of the best overall movies because of the comedy. I think this saved Thor because we're coming. You got to remember that we're coming off of Thor: Dark World, which was terrible.
You said Ragnarok, right, bro?
Yeah. We're coming off of Thor: Dark World, which people were ready to give up on Thor already, just off of that movie. Like, that's how bad it was, and that's nuts. But I think that Ragnarok did an amazing job of adding the comedy part to it, which they stuck with Thor. Thor is like now one of like the funnier characters, and he has that like comedic aspect of his character. Before, Thor was like just like the super strong,
serious,
like douchebag, serious, like kind of like that. And then Ragnarok, they completely flipped the script. And that has to go to the directing change that they made. Yeah. And just
Taika Waititi is freaking amazing.
He got an Oscar.
He won an Oscar for the movie with Scarlett Johansson, right?
Jojo
Rabbit. Yeah.
I didn't see that yet. I do want to see it though. But yeah, he's an amazing director and he did a good job with it. And then Thor embodied that role. He revamped the character, did that 180 in the character like style that he had. They added they added Hulk in the
they gave the Hulk more personality. He has like a 12-year-old baby.
So that was cool. They added the little the supporting characters like Korg and all them.
Thompson, yeah.
And so I mean, it's nothing too crazy. Like, it wasn't super important, like I said, but it was just. It revamped the Thor character, and
it was funny.
It was just one of the better movies, the more enjoyable movies that you can watch now. You can, like, if you're referring people that don't really watch Marvel movies, I would put Thor Ragnarok in one of those movies for them to watch.
Yep. So with my number 6, okay, I'm gonna be honest, guys. This will be my top 5, but I had to put another movie in there. Avengers 1 is my number 6. I had to play it safe. It's my number 6 because Avengers is one of my favorite movies ever, personally. You know, like you cannot get better than Avengers 1. Cap, like, I love the Star Spangled Suit. A lot of people don't like it, but it's amazing. Just the start of it, I'm gonna just leave it there because I really want to get into this top 5. Okay, let's just go right into the 5. Go.
All right, cool.
I really want to. This is my. I love this. I love this.
Yeah, I think my 5 are cement. Like,
I would not move my 5 for anything.
So my 5 is So I put. Are you guys ready? The Dark Knight Rises.
Yes, it's getting serious. Okay, why?
So The Dark Knight Rises is the conclusion of the Dark Knight trilogy. Christopher Nolan, amazing director. So after watching The Dark Knight, I was so curious to see how they were gonna conclude it, because the Joker was Heath Ledger, no one can top it. But Bane, Tom Hardy as Bane, I thought he really brought a very intimidating element to the movie, breaking the bat and taking over Gotham and exposing the truth of Harvey Dent, and just the narrative was just compelling for me. I just love those elements of the movie, and I just liked how it ended with Bruce Wayne settling down and having, I guess, Robin replace and take the replacement of Batman. I thought it was a really good conclusion. I thought that really concluded the Dark Knight series well, and it leaves you in interpretation of what might have been, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that. I mean, I don't think that
the ending blew me though. The ending had me pissed. I'll be honest.
Oh yeah, the twist.
I didn't. The only way I could see that happening was if they went like a Batman Beyond twist.
I guess.
I didn't like the fact that they named him Robin. If you wanted to do Robin, I would have put him in the second one, but that's just.
I mean, I just think actually, I'm not gonna say anything,
Yeah.
but yeah,
But Dark Knight Rises was a great ending. I think Tom Hardy was amazing as Bane. Bale's the GOAT.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we're at 5, right?
Yeah.
Ooh. All right, my number 5. Actually, I think my 4 and 5 could actually be switched too, but I'm gonna keep it. My number 5 is Civil War. I mean, it's a top 5 movie. I mean, I don't know what else you can say. It was the first time we saw two major heroes go against each other.
Batman vs Superman, bro. Sorry, all right.
That was-
Did that come out before? I don't think that came out after. No, that came out the same
People
year.
told me Batman vs Superman.
It might. I think
is
it
in
was
your top
around the
5.
same time,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was Cap versus Iron Man. Like we've never seen something like that. We've never seen something that has been leading up like they did with all the Avengers and all these movies and everybody coming together for it to be split into. Like we didn't get to see that. Also, the action in that was amazing. Like we got to see those one-on-one fights, and we got the introduction of what? Black Panther, right? Black Panther was introduced in this. We got
He was
Spider-Man
awesome
introduced
in that
into
movie.
this. So I mean,
Ant-Man
like,
really was like, you could see Ant-Man really interact.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
when he went big,
He went
yo, that
down,
was one
yeah.
of the toughest scenes.
I mean, it's that's a top 5 movie.
Yep. My number 5 is The Dark Knight.
Oh.
Okay.
Dark Knight's my baby, man. The Dark Knight is my stinking baby. To be honest, The Dark Knight is the greatest DC movie of all time right now. Can we all agree on that?
Yeah.
Number 1, Heath Ledger, GOAT, the greatest Joker of all time. Better than you, Joaquin.
Nah.
You know, one of my knocks on The Dark Knight is the action, so that is a knock. But the movie itself, I mean, what a great performance. I mean, one of my favorite scenes personally was when I don't call it Batman's girlfriend, but his little old flame that he always had love for, the chick that was a lawyer. Her name was Rachel, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
When she died and when the Joker set off that bomb and she died, bro, and he was standing on top of the rubble, and also the introduction to Harvey Dent was really good. I mean, I think Two-Face was amazing. I really wish he lived on. I wish we could have got some of him in the Dark Knight Rises. I wish we did. It wasn't the end of it, but and then the whole like, it felt like it was telling like all these different sides of the story. You get Gordon's side of the story where his wife is like, him and his wife are in turmoil. She's about to like leave him. Then you see from Harvey Dent's side of the story, right? Harvey Dent is just trying to make the world a better place, but at the same time he's still fighting with his inner self of like, is being the better man going evil, or is being the better man doing the actual right thing? Then you get the Joker's side of the story, which is I'ma just go bat crazy and just do whatever I want when I want. Like that hospital scene. I mean, come on.
That in itself was Oscar worthy.
Yes, and then you get Bruce Wayne, who's kind of like leveling through each of the worlds, like, and it's nothing. I've never, I have seen something like in this movie, but this was like the first real top-notch, perfect acting movie that I've seen, and one of the best performances from a DC movie that we might ever see, ever. To be honest, I don't think Bale is the best Batman, but I think Bale has had the best performance as Batman. And this movie is the best performance for
Okay.
Batman of all time. Until Robert Pattinson unveils his mask in 2021.
Okay. 4.
Yes.
Number 4, bro.
So I decided to put this higher. Batman Begins. I honestly liked this movie. As a kid, I didn't like it. I thought it was boring. But watching it now that I'm older, and even just recently, I like the whole narrative of Bruce Wayne becoming this ideal superhero that Gotham needs. I thought it was an interesting. I think it's probably the best origin superhero movie, just because it's balanced pretty well. Like it doesn't start from when he's a kid and then tells this linear story. It starts it goes back and forth when he's a kid and then when he's an adult and he's training with Ra's al Ghul. And even Ra's al Ghul had like some backstory that they touched on in The Dark Knight Rises, which completed that whole, I guess, his origin. But for me, I think it's probably the best origin superhero movie. Probably, I don't know.
To be honest, in my opinion,
it was really about Bruce Wayne, honestly.
Yeah, I think the portrayal of Bruce Wayne was amazing. But in my opinion, I think the best origin was probably Wonder the Woman. That was a really good origin movie that I enjoyed. But Batman Begins is like goated though. That is one of the best origins. Yeah.
All right. So we're what?
Does his parents get shot in that one too? Right.
Yeah. And you actually develop a connection with them before they do.
The wildest scene was when remember when he tried to shoot the guy that shot his parents, like. He tried to walk in like.
That was crazy. That
was insane.
And then someone else shot him, and he kind of like realized that.
My only pet peeve with the Dark Knight is his neck, like.
Oh, the Batman Begins. Yeah.
Yeah, like his neck, like you could tell he couldn't turn sideways. You know what I mean? He had to turn his body and turn sideways.
Yeah, that's what in Dark Knight they admitted that. That was pretty cool.
And honestly, with Pattinson, it's like literally like it's a little like softer material.
I haven't seen it yet.
I'm talking about the mask.
Jesus Christ. Okay. So we're on 4? 4, right?
Yeah.
Alright, so I'll keep it with Batman, and I'm going to go The Dark Knight. For most of the reasons that Steve said, I mean, I don't know what else you can really say. Like, I guess you can nitpick that there wasn't enough action. I get that. I mean, I wish the Joker and Batman had more, like, action, more...
You mean like screen time?
Yeah, screen time in the movie.
Together?
But I mean, like, what can you say? Even in the opening scene, like the freaking bank rob, that was crazy. The hospital was crazy. Like, we got to see the Joker as the master planner and the mastermind Joker that we could see in the comics, and we got to see him as the easily arch enemy of Batman, and we got to see that. And I think that this was the best Batman movie. I think that just the character and the acting and just the overall of how, like you said, they did a good job of balancing the different perspectives and the different like story plots that they were going with. Like you said about the Commissioner and about Harvey Dent, about Batman. We got to see all those things interact at the same time in the same movie, which was amazing. So yeah, I mean, that's my top 4.
Yep. My number 4 is Civil War. You touched on it earlier, but I'm gonna just touch on it a little bit more. To be honest, I have a hard time deciding whether Civil War is the best Marvel movie I've ever watched. Well, no. Wait. I'm sorry. Let me reword that. Sorry, let me fix that. When Civil War first came out, I had a hard time deciding whether that was the best Marvel movie I watched. And at the time, it was. I mean,
okay.
One of my nitpicks about the MCU was that they never touched a dramatic part. It was always, action and happy and laughter. And this is the first movie where you see actual emotions being like used by. I think the acting by Robert Downey Jr. in that last fight scene, particularly the last fight scene with Cap, and even during the film, you can tell that Robert Downey Jr.'s character Iron Man, you can see the stress on him from the fact that Cap has gone rogue. And it's funny because usually it's Tony is the one that's a rebel, and then Cap's the one that's straight and narrow, and the roles flip.
Yeah, I always found that.
Yeah, and it shows you different sides of the character, and then on top of that last fight scene of when he asked and the fact that Tony knew that Cap knew that his parents died, that Bucky killed his parents, he knew that Cap knew, and then he just went off, and then in the end, this is what cements Robert Downey Jr.'s acting ability. When Cap was hammering his arc reactor, and when he went for the last one, you could see the fear in Tony's eyes, like thinking that he was gonna like hammer his face, like just the stress and the sadness and the emotion of that scene and of the movie. To be honest, even when what's a war, Rhodey. When Rhodey takes that crazy, the movie's just insane, bro.
Yeah,
it's crazy, man. And even Crossbones in the opening scene wasn't that bad. So
one thing I liked was when Tony said, "That's not your shield. My father made that shield,"
and he throws it down. So I mean, dude, that movie is insanity, man. Love it. So, all right, top 3, guys. Let's get it real.
You know that movie is actually really good. The more I
Dude.
think about it, I probably should have put it in my. Anyways, number 3, Infinity War. So this movie was amazing. I mean, just flat out action packed. All your favorite superheroes: Spider-Man, Star-Lord. I mean, it was just amazing. The ending was what did it for me, especially Spider-Man when he was fading away to oblivion or whatever. I really loved like that scene right there. Really, like I didn't know how good of an actor Tom Holland was because I haven't really seen any of his like previous movies.
Right.
But like right there in that scene, I'm like, oh, like this guy, like he can really act, and the fact that it was like it wasn't unscripted, like not like completely, but it was, I guess, developed because Tom Hardy and Robert Downey, they like came up with that scene. It was just so like it really made you realize how intense the situation was.
Yeah,
you know?
I would just go with you because Infinity War is my number 3 as well. So I'm gonna just tag team along with you. So then Corey is. I know it's not your number 3. So
probably
yeah, I'm gonna just tag teamed with you. Infinity War, talk about action.
Yeah, man.
Talk about opening scene. Thanos is dragging my man's Thor like my dad used to drag me when I was a kid for being bad, bro. You jump right into it. I mean, that's it. And man. Even Iron Man's opening fight scene, which is one of my favorite opening, like that was amazing. And the thing about Infinity War, about Iron Man per se, you see Iron Man. This is Endgame, but see, the thing about Iron Man that really sat well with me is that after every Iron Man movie, all of the things that went wrong in that movie, he fixes in the next movie. Think about it. Rhodey fell out of the sky. Tony couldn't catch him in time. Tony has thrusters in the bottom of his feet to make him shoot up in the air. Tony didn't have a shield to fight Cap. All he could do was analyze his fight pattern. Now he has a shield with nanotechnology. Every mistake that he's made, he fixes.
That's interesting, yeah.
Like, when you really think about it, it's insane, right?
I mean, and he sacrifices himself every single movie.
And if you really think about it, it does.
Yeah, he does. In the first Avenger,
he flew up there in Sokovia.
Yep.
Yeah.
And even if you think about it, and if he had that nanotech suit during Civil War, they would have all been dead. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, I mean, Infinity War, I'll say this because obviously it's on my list too, so I'll wait and say more to this, but that suit up that he had right there was the best one.
Bro, that is his best suit up.
That's the best suit up when he just boom and everything just develops right onto the nanotech. That was amazing.
Oh,
but
man.
Yeah, so that was your number 3, right?
Yeah. But I had it was going to be my number 2, but I cannot leave this movie out of my number 2.
All right. So I'm sure this is his number 2. That is my number 3.
I know what it is.
So I'm gonna go Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier.
I knew it.
Winter Soldier is my number 3, and I understand why people would put it higher. And I think this has to. It has to be at least in everybody's top 5. This was what shifted the MCU from the type of movies that they made. The action took a skyrocket. Everything was just more realistic. It was more intense. They just like you can just if you watch the movie back, you can just see like Cap hitting people, like Cap's punches, everything was just so clean, and so like you could just hear the sound. It was just amazing to watch, and
it was definitely Cap's redemption movie.
Yeah,
sure.
I want to tag team because Winter Soldier is my number
and
2.
it was one of the most. Yeah. It was one of the without. Since this is not a Avengers movie, right? This is still Captain America. Yeah. This was a near perfect movie based off of the action, the acting, the plot line, and just how they kept everything so concise and yet made you tune in for the whole 2-hour movie. It was like almost flawless.
Yep. And I'm going to tag team because my number 2 is Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Captain America: The Winter Soldier is probably my favorite solo movie ever of all of the Marvel films. And I'll be honest, Captain America 1, the shield throws were not great. The shield throws in Winter Soldier were far exceeded.
Right? Yeah, they took it. They ramped it up,
bro.
For real.
That opening boat scene, best fight scene in the MCU, in my opinion. Best fight scene from Captain America in the MCU that I've seen.
Okay.
I'm sorry, from Captain America. Let me put some context on that. Best fight scene from Captain America in the MCU. The fact that he takes out a whole boat of men. And even when he's talking and he dives in the boat, dives in the water, like, he's like, does he have a parachute? He said, no, he doesn't. And then the whole thing of taking S.H.I.E.L.D. down, I love that idea. I mean, and bro.
Yeah,
Winter Soldier is the best solo movie.
Yeah, everybody had to put some respect on Cap's name after this movie.
Bro.
So that was you knocked out your 2, right?
Yeah, and lastly, the fighting wasn't as graphic until the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
You can hear as you said, you can hear the pain and feel the hits, and that even led into Civil War. Like, I just want to go there for 1 second. I'm sorry, I'm going backwards. One thing that I forgot to say about Civil War is Cap. You can see Cap actually getting hurt. Like, remember when the bomb goes off and he jumps out of the building, his face hits the ground. You actually feel the pain, and it is the same thing with the Winter Soldier. And let's not forget about Bucky when he caught his shield, and Bucky was going to work, bro.
Yeah,
Bucky was going to work.
It was just all around execution.
Have you guys seen the memes with Cap in the elevator?
The elevator. I mean, come on.
Yeah. I mean, there's just so many. It was just you can just go on and on about how good this movie was, but it was just all around near flawless execution by him.
Speaking of elevator, my number 2 is Endgame, and I liked it how they kind of had the
I wonder what his number 1 is.
Yeah, I know. I liked it how they had that scene with the elevator, and he's like, "Oh, Hydra," because like the comics, he did that, so that was really cool. But Endgame is my number 2. 10 years in the making, man. I mean,
I love it.
10 years. The fact that it didn't get. The fact that it didn't, was it 10 or 11?
Well, 11 technically, I guess.
11, whatever.
2008.
A decade. But I lost my train of thought. But
you were talking about the elevator.
The elevator, Hydra. Anyways, it'll come back. Let me just
Yeah. I mean, Endgame is my number 2.
Yeah, so. The fact that it didn't get nominated for like an Oscar.
That's nuts.
Let's just guys, I'm not even gonna say anything. I'm gonna save it. This Oscar rant is coming in the next 5. So
okay.
I feel like it should have at least gotten nominated for
something.
For something.
Something. I mean, it
like dedication, because for real, it's been consistent this entire time.
I mean, if you're just going off of numbers too, I mean, it crushed every box office ever, really.
Crushed every box office.
I mean, but like what you were saying, this is my number 2 movie also, and it's just like, what can you say? We got literally 3 hours of everything going on.
It didn't feel like 3 hours.
I mean, you could just watch it and it felt like it was an hour. You could watch it and watch it over again and you'll still miss things. It's just like so much, and we got to see like Thor and Rocket. We got to see Stormbreaker. We got to see it's just, you can go down the list. There was just so much going on.
But it was for me, what I really liked about the movie was because it didn't have enough action. If Infinity War was action pack.
Right.
For sure. This is like season 5 of Breaking Bad. Like you see the aftermath of what happened.
Right.
And you see like everyone at their lowest and everyone at their like going through their internal conflicts. You're seeing Thor in his depression, in his state, and he's trying to overcome that. You see Tony, he's settling, he doesn't want to be a hero anymore. You see Black Widow trying to find peace with herself, trying to keep herself busy. The only person that's really kind of like the only person that still has it all together is Cap, because he already lost everything. So he's the one that really keeps inspiring people. We saw him in that scene when he was talking. But yeah, I just like seeing that. I just like seeing heroes at their lowest and trying to find their way back up. And at the end, they really successfully did that with the portal scene. So that was really cool.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we got the full.
And that was awesome, seeing all of those heroes. So
we got. I mean, that's one of the best superhero scenes ever when everybody was coming out of the portals. But even going back to what you were saying, we got to see everybody at their lowest, but then we also got to see everything come full circle. We got to see Tony finally like giving his life for everybody, like for real, because he, like we were talking about earlier, he did it in every movie. In every Avengers, nearly, he sacrificed himself, and it always worked out. And I think they did a perfect job of building Tony up, for making him like seem like everybody. He was such the good guy. Like we knew Tony Stark. We got to see him grow, and I think that's what they did flawlessly. We got to see him go from Tony Stark, the billionaire douchebag, and we got to see him finally settling down, having his daughter, and then he finally ended up. We got him the later rest, and we got to see Cap staying and aging and coming back to that bench. We got to see all those things coming full circle at the end. So I mean, it was amazing, yeah.
All right, so we're gonna go number 1, but I want to start with you and we'll end here.
because you already chose it too.
Yeah, so we're gonna go number 1 around, because I kind of have like a big like whatever. You know how I go. So start. You're number 1.
Okay, so my number 1, you guys already mentioned it. But I put it number 1, The Dark Knight. Reason why, this was the first superhero.
Respectable.
This was the first superhero I watched that really blew me away. I remember I was 10. This movie came out in 2008. My brother was watching it in like some pirate website, and I remember watching the scene where Batman was trying to get information out of the Joker in the interrogation room. And I just remember, seeing how when Batman was really trying to, like, when he kept hitting the Joker, and the Joker was, like, laughing, Heath Ledger, first of all, is, like, for me, he's the best Joker. Mm-hmm. Just because he was able...
I agree.
He was able to bring...
Shots at Corey.
He was able to bring that character to life and in the big screen. I think that for an actor to do that is really challenging. Because he has to not only have and carry the voice, but he has to have the act the character out in physically in the in the 3-dimensional space. But that scene alone, the interrogation room, really it blew me away, because I've never seen a superhero not have control. Because the Joker he had complete control over the Batman in that scene, to the point where he lost his girlfriend, and that even had repercussions to him, to the point where he even affected him in the next movie, which was why I really liked it, The Dark Knight Rises, and that's also in the top 5 list. And that's why it's my favorite superhero movie. It also inspired me to really study movies too, because the cinematography, the action sequence with the truck scene before the interrogation room, where Batman is riding his bike and he flips the truck. That entire scene alone is my favorite, probably one of my favorite action sequences in any movie. Because there's no music, there's nothing. It's just this chase and Batman just trying to chase the Joker, and I mean it's just so intense. And the engineering behind the Batmobile and stuff is just really cool, and the sound too, the way it sounds with the Shepherd's Tone. Like it's just so there's so much in that movie that I can talk about. But it's definitely my number one, and it's my favorite.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there was a movie like that. Because even the first Batman, like Batman Begins, it wasn't, or what's it called? The first movie in the trilogy, it wasn't.
It was Batman Begins.
Yeah, it wasn't as dark, I don't think, as The Dark Knight. Like,
it was dark, but this was like
this movie, they just like, they grew on it. They made it a little bit more dark. They made the action a little bit better. They just made everything more sharp, and I think that, like, coming out 2008, right?
Yeah.
There wasn't really a movie like that from one of the major superheroes that we've seen, so I'm not mad at that.
So what's your number one?
Infinity War.
I know.
Yeah.
But
That's the best movie, and based off of everything that you said before, because you had Infinity War on yours too already. Did you already say it?
Yes, my number.
I think number three. Yeah, but I mean, this was the movie that they lost. We didn't really get to see that. We just watched it for 3 hours. We saw them fighting Thanos, doing all this stuff, and then they lost. Like, it's just a movie that, like, I can honestly say when it ended, I was completely in shock. Like, we were just like, what happened? Like, what is going on? Like, we didn't know what happened, and we got to see I can just, like, remember, like, just watching it, and after the snap happened and people started disintegrating, all this stuff started happening. In the time between that and the Captain Marvel, like, when they showed her logo at the end, just thinking of, like, oh, snap, what's about to happen? They're about to call somebody. Like, who is it going to be? Is it going to be Adam Warlock? Is it going to be Captain Marvel? Like, what is going to happen? And we obviously got Captain Marvel, and I think that, just like you said, it was action-packed. Like, that's what I wanted to see in the Avengers. I wanted to see the action all over the place, everybody interacting, everything going crazy, and then just the fact that that movie literally left me speechless and waiting and anticipating, and like just remember, like, we're going to the podcast and we're like, yo, we need to make the road to Endgame. Like, we need to figure out what's about to happen, and all the theories that came up from that, and that's just the best movie in my opinion.
Spider-Man in Space is one of my favorites. Like,
and you gotta be honest, like, and you're going to experience this too when the next Avengers movie comes out and we start the podcasting about it. Podcasting about it and giving up theories makes you more excited for the movie. Like, we can be honest, like, leading up to, like, after Infinity War, that road to Endgame, that year that we took us podcasting consistently, it increases your joy of the movie. You know what I mean? Because you have theories that you're looking forward to, and you're going to see that, bro. It's crazy how, like, good Infinity War was. But all right, so my number one is obviously Avengers Endgame. Avengers Endgame is the greatest movie I have ever seen in my lifetime of being a human being. It probably will be the greatest movie I will ever see in my lifetime of being a human being, and I firmly believe that Robert Downey Jr., this is his best performance of all time, and he deserves an Oscar for this movie, and he did not get Oscar nominated. He actually said that he didn't want to do the press run, and I think he didn't do it due to other directors saying that Marvel is not real cinema, but we're not going to get into that in a second. But let's talk about Avengers Endgame.
Go on.
As I said, I've seen this movie 17 times, so I know literally every scene tit for tat. But, you know, coming off of Infinity War, let's be honest, Corey, there were no claps at the end of Infinity War. No one was clapping, and you come into the movie and it's like they killed Thanos off the rip. This is not the convention. This was not a conventional movie, superhero movie, and it's not conventional because number one, they lost, and number two, they killed the main villain, but he doesn't have the stone, so you don't know what to do. And then they're going back in time. We get Fat Thor. I mean, what? How can a movie like? I be honest, man. My mouth was dropped the whole time, bro. I've never, other than Infinity War, where I felt this kind of like hungriness for a movie, I've never felt like this, bro. And it was like,
yeah, when it said 5 years later, I was like, whoa, where is this going,
bro? You don't know what's happening, right?
Yeah.
And then they go back in time to Avengers 1 and Thor 2, Dark World that we don't like, but all the other, like, Guardians 1, when Chris Pratt, they said, hey, like, bro, it was amazing. And I think this movie is the best ending to a saga. Because, number one, you're going through each of, like, the stages of Avengers. You know what I'm saying? You're going through each of the stages. And then to end it, everyone freaking comes. They even had the little duck dude. Like, the little duck.
Yeah.
He was even popped out in there. And then to end it, we get Tony snapping. By the way, I cried at the end of that scene. But, you know, then you get Tony snapping his fingers. And he dies. And, I mean, bro. And the fact that Avengers Endgame became the highest grossing movie of all time last year and did not win an Oscar for nothing. They didn't even win Best Picture. And let's not forget to give Josh Brolin Thanos his flowers. Other than the Joker, Thanos might be on the same level. I don't know. Am I out of line to say that Thanos is in the same field as Heath and Joaquin?
Yeah.
He's Thanos. This might be the best supervillain that I've seen. Because Thanos is different from every other bad guy because he hit a point where he didn't need the stones. He wasn't itching for power. He did what he had to do and destroy the stones. And then remember when he saw himself die, he wasn't even mad. He said, "That's destiny fulfilled."
Yeah, he was dedicated to his vision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was just, I'm speechless even still thinking about the movie, man. This is the greatest movie I've ever seen. And I don't, obviously, and if y'all know me, every movie is the greatest movie I've ever seen because I love superhero film like that when it comes to Avengers. And I just think this ending to Robert Downey, and I think Chris Evans will be back, but, you know, the ending to Chris Evans and giving Sam the shield, you know, and seeing what's going to happen with that, and, you know, the funeral was probably one of my favorite parts of the movie. That's just the ending, seeing all the heroes, and, you know, this movie is just amazing. So, yeah. Any other comments? We have some time left. Let's take about 5 minutes to do some honorable mentions. What are some that's on your mind?
Some of my honorable mentions. Let's see. I think I'll just give a shout out to The Dark Knight Rises. I mean, that was the introduction to one of the best Batman. Well, the best Batman. That was the introduction to the best Batman movie, which was The Dark Knight, in my opinion. Spider-Man 2, that was the best Spider-Man that's came out, so gotta shout that one out of the old ones. Wonder Woman, that was an amazing intro movie. That was an amazing character development movie. And then I'll go Far From Home, which was my favorite Spider-Man movie of all time so far. That was, like you said, because you touched on Far From Home in yours, so I'm not going to really touch on it too much. That was just a great movie to me. And then Logan, that was my favorite portrayal of Wolverine. That was my favorite, X-Men genre movie. That was just, Logan was personally one of my favorites, but that's it.
Yeah, I'm going to just name a quick 2 honorable mentions. Ragnarok, you named that. Yeah. Wonder Woman, as you said, those are my 2 honorable mentions. Really great.
And mine is Far From Home and Green Lantern.
Are you serious?
Nah.
Oh, I'm about to say, Green Lantern, you was about to start another 10-minute episode. All right, wait, so what's your other honorable mention?
That's really it. I don't think I have any.
Far From Home?
Yeah, just Far From Home.
Far From Home. Far From Home might be the best Spider-Man movie, but we need to give that some time. So, thank you guys for listening. This will be the guys that you'll be hearing more. This is our first time with all of us together, so it's actually really fun. We're having a great time. So thank you guys for listening to us. Just to give you a quick overview of what we're going to do in the next couple months. I am looking to do so we will be doing a character deep dive series where we will be really taking deep dives into characters, and we'll be reading the comic books and giving you deep dives. But right now, our series coming up after our next episode, we will be doing a series called Expanding the Marvel Universe. Now, this subject, Expanding the Marvel Universe, we will be talking about Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Scarlet Witch and what the WandaVision show, the Loki show, and we will also be talking about the Avengers video game that is coming out and what that means, and we will also be talking about the She-Hulk rumors that are coming out. We'll be talking about all that The Eternals, Black Widow, and we will be talking about what this means for the MCU, what we think the plot is for these movies, and we will be reading the comics and coming up with our own theories of what we think is going to happen before all of this stuff comes out. So, thank you guys for listening. We love you. We are going to record an extra episode for 15 minutes, probably talking about Batman and some other news that's going on. It won't be long. So, follow us on Instagram, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, any platform at Superhero Post 302. Follow Corey at, what's your Instagram name?
Corey.Jennings12.
JClaw97.
At Stevie Hayes, but really don't follow me. Follow the Superhero Post 302 Instagram. We post daily updates. So show us some love and have a good night.